Hello, my name is Steve Wu. I'm chair of the American Bar Association's section of Science and Technology Law. Welcome to the committees page on the section website. I'm sure if you look at the different committee pages, you'll find a committee that interests you. I invite you to join that committee, talk to the committee chairs, and find out what the committee does. Please do. Check it out and get involved with one of the committees. I think you'll enjoy it. Our committees are broken down into three areas. The first is e-commerce and IT, that is electronic commerce and information technology. This division has committees that cover various areas of computers, software, internet, electronic commerce, information technology matters of various kinds. For example, the e-privacy law committee talks about privacy law, privacy requirements that enterprises have to meet, and new requirements that governments might be imposing on businesses. It looks at different ways in which people can help to protect the privacy of their customers. The e-commerce payment committee talks about individual ways in which businesses can set up systems to do payments and the legal requirements having to do with that and risk management. Electronic filing talks about court filings and different ways in which people can communicate by and do their filings electronically. Information security. The Information Security Committee talks about the regulations and statutes that govern information security, the liability arising from security breaches, and ways to respond to incidents that arise, such as security breaches. Internet relationships and cloud computing. Cloud computing is a phenomenon that we're seeing where people are moving their information processing to the internet so that you can have access to your information from any device at any time. It allows people to save money by having the software run on internet services and not have to have the burden of having their own local software. Cloud computing is changing the way people do their computing, so our committee looks at issues arising from that. Latin American e-commerce. A lot of the e-commerce that we've seen is international in scope. Our Latin America e-commerce committee focuses on e-commerce issues in Latin American countries. Open source. Open source software is everywhere. What are the liabilities arising from the use of open source? How do we have proper agreements to limit the risks? These are some of the things that the open source committee is looking at. Privacy and computer crime. Computer crime is a big problem. We've seen incidents of hacking and with incidents of denial of service attacks, companies and businesses under attack from internet users who are malicious and trying to take down sites. There are many criminal issues having to do with the internet, and this committee focuses on publications having to do with risk management, security policies, and ways to enforce the laws having to do with computer crime. Technical standardizations. Standards are an important part of internet and e-commerce, and many areas of science for that matter. What are the legal implications of using standards and organizations coming together to create standards? If they create a standard in which it's covered by a patent, what are the implications of that? This is what the standardization committee is looking at. Telecommunications and mass media. There are many telecommunications issues looking at things like net neutrality, looking at voice over IP or wireless communications, the regulatory aspects of these. Those are examples of the work product of telecommunications and mass media. Virtual worlds and multi-user online games. World of Warcraft is a very popular game, and there are many others like it. Second Life is a popular virtual world, and there are many others like it. What are the intellectual property, contract, and property issues that arise from the use of these environments? The Virtual Worlds and Multi-User Online Games Committee studies these. In the Life Science and Physical Science division, we have a number of committees that focus on areas that are of interest to scientists generally. We have the Animal Research Committee that looks at issues of the use of animals for research. We have a Behavioral Sciences Committee that talks about the legal implications of psychology, different aspects of expert testimony having to do with criminal proceedings, for example, in which psychology is relevant. These are examples of what that committee does. Biotechnology. Biotechnology is a very broad field that encompasses a lot of areas: corporate, intellectual property, regulatory, but focusing on new technologies having to do with biology and the new devices or pharmaceuticals that arise out of that scientific research. The committee studies all of these aspects. Nanotechnology law. Nanotechnology has to do with devices or materials that are at very small scale. From a regulatory perspective, the FDA is very concerned about nanoparticles being in the environment or being on sale through consumer products. And over the long run, we'll be looking in that committee at devices that work within our bodies or help manufacture products. All of these will create legal issues, and the Nanotechnology Law Committee is studying that. The Committee on the Rights and Responsibility of Scientists. Sometimes there is scientific misconduct, and the committee studies legal aspects of scientific misconduct. In addition, scientists have certain rights, and the committee studies those rights as well. Scientific evidence. We have a committee that creates a publication that focuses on the latest development in scientific evidence, how it's admitted in court, and creates a very widely popular publication on issues of the admission of evidence and the admissibility of evidence. In our interdisciplinary division, we have committees that don't fit within one category well, and so we have a number of committees that we put together. The Artificial Intelligence and Robotics Committee looks at the use of personal service robots or robots for the use in military, drones, as well as for products like consumer-oriented products, and we're also working on the legal implications of autonomous driving. Clean tech and climate change. One of the most important issues facing mankind is the question of the change in our climate due to global warming. This committee studies the impact of global warming and climate change and looks at the regulatory environment relative to trying to prevent global warming, as well as the business aspects and intellectual property aspects of creating new businesses to create clean tech products and services. The future of evidence looks at different kinds of evidence of a wide variety in forensics and tries to look at how courts of the future are going to have to deal with these new kinds of evidence. Healthcare technology. This committee looks at the healthcare informatics and systems that are in place to process health information and protect health information, and looks at the privacy and security aspects of healthcare. Homeland security. One of the fundamental protections we have in place is measures that the government implements to protect the homeland through the Department of Homeland Security and otherwise, and through interagency cooperation. The Homeland Security Committee looks at legal aspects having to do with Homeland Security, the protection of critical infrastructures, what the government's doing to promote security within the United States. And finally, the Museum Law Committee. This is a committee that looks at the forensic examination of art and museum artifacts, looking to, for example, find out whether a particular artifact or painting is authentic, and there are legal issues that arise from that. So with all of these committees, I'm guessing that you're going to find one that interests you. Please check out the web pages of our various committees and join the committee. I hope you'll enjoy your time as one of the members of our committees within the section of Science and Technology Law. Thank you.